Hello there, and welcome to another exciting episode of Touchstarved. In the last episode, we started the demo, we met two of the characters, and we said that we were going to explore a little bit more of Iridia, see the sights, maybe meet some more people. I don't know. We should be jumping off right where we left off in the last episode, so let's see what happens. Oh, hold on. The air clings, sodden and heavy. Without the morning crowd, the sunless streets look barren and bleak. Even the peddlers are long gone. Only a pair of crows remain quibbling over stale crusts in a gutter. I feel a ridiculous pang of envy. For stale crust. Interesting. At least they've got reason to fight. Never felt so lost. Burris and Leander both made it clear that Cenobium can't be trusted. I came so far, endured so much. I need to see the Cenobium for myself. Oh boy. If only to satisfy my curiosity. I should have asked someone at the bar for directions before leaving. I'm about to turn back when a shadow passes over me. A cloud, I think, until a puff of hot... Oh, I don't like that. The shadow runs down the street in rivulets, formless dark spreads, like ink into blotted shapes. Claws stretch. A muzzle slits open to reveal long, jagged teeth. The growl rumbles so low and deep, I feel it. I want to run, to scream, but I feel trapped, as though the slightest movement, a hair, or single breath will snap the jaws around me shut. No, I won't let it end like this. If I'm going to die, I want to see what got me first. I steel myself, then turn. I didn't know I wasn't going to turn very far. The shadow vanishes as quickly as it came. I'm left standing in the middle of the street, alone except for a figure reclining in the shade of a nearby stoop. Hey yo, what the fuck was that? Am I right? And then it got really bright for a second there, hey. A monster? Okay, I just thought it was like a cat boy or something. That much is clear from a glance. One that can nearly be mistaken for human, were it not for the tufted ears, the tail curled around his ankle. For the dusk pink eyes with pupils that sharpen like needles when they fall on me. Our eyes meet, and the monster uncrosses his long legs. Are you the one who was breathing on me? His hair gleams a shade of red that reminds me unsettlingly of blood where it curls around his collared throat. Jumpy, aren't you? His tone is so light and carefree that I glance over my shoulder to make sure he's speaking to me. When I look back, the stranger props his chin on his knuckles and regards me with an inscrutable little smile. Didn't you see that shadow just now? It was massive. The beast. Even as I speak, I'm aware of how ridiculous I must sound. But the stranger's smile doesn't falter. The only beasts I've seen are the wicks-drooling regulars, though this did catch my eye. Bitch. With a flourish of his hand, my in-room key appears dangling. What's up with the thigh? Dangling from his finger. It turns on his chain, glittering when it catches. So you definitely were the one who was just behind me, breathing on my neck like a fucking weirdo. And also you stole my room key. My hands fly to my cloak's pockets, and sure enough, find them flat. You also steal my money? I only have like $5 to my name, but... He crooks his finger, beckoning. Again, what is up with the thigh? I've taken 2 steps forward before some stifled instinct stops me. Something feels wrong. I'm still on the edge, thrumming with so much adrenaline that the stranger's shadow flickers at the edges of my vision. I always attract the worst kind of attention, but I can't get rattled now. Where'd you find it? How'd you even find it? The key, I mean. What can I say? I'm a sucker for shiny things. He smiles wide enough to reveal pointed canines. Saw you drop it. Okay. I don't think that I did. You really should be more careful. City like this, somebody might take advantage. The bald-faced lie said without any hint of irony. There's no way I dropped that key, but I can't think of an explanation for how it went from my pocket to his hand. He stole it. You dumb ass. How do I choose the thief background and a thief can't recognize a thief? Come on. I approach the man, careful to keep an arm's length away. He doesn't look dangerous, but the most deadly ones never do. The stranger's softly clinks with the tilt of his head. His ears flick. Okay. Keeping your distance? Until I figure out how you managed to rob me? Yeah, I am. You think I stole your dinky little key? From all the way over here? Yeah. He gives an exaggerated sigh. I'm good with my hands, but not that good. Do I really look like a common thief to you? I have ideas of this character. He's got me there. The sheer fabric of his sleeves alone would be too expensive for most street thieves. Hell, his shoes look like they cost more than I spent traveling here. Then there's the shop behind him. No matter the city, parted pink curtains only ever mean one thing. I'm not looking to buy, and I doubt I could afford your services anyway. Luckily for you, I don't charge. Why not? The man runs the tip of his tongue over a fang, and for the first time since I stepped into that shadow, I feel something other than... No, I still feel dread. My face grows hot. That's not what I meant. I'm flattered, really. For sex my trade, I might make an exception for you. About half off for a handy. Or you could just hand over my key. Ask nicely and I might even let you take it. Just throw it here. So some spindly little street urchin can snatch it and run. He raises my key and tilts his head so he can watch it dangle back and forth. I suppose I could just claim your room for myself. Not that I'd be caught dead slumming in the wick with the rest of those slack-jawed imbeciles. You're obviously not from around here. So, tell me, traveler, what misfortune brought you to this wretched place? His voice practically drips with derision. I'm not telling you anything. What could possibly draw you to a dreary little pig pen, I wonder? He listlessly watches the arc of my key swinging over his finger. The weather's shit, food dreck, and there's entirely too many monsters for a human to feel safe. Unless... Dagger-sharp eyes flick towards me. They gleam with amusement. Unless you're just dying to consort with monsters. By now, my embarrassment has worn away, leaving simmering impatience in its place. This is a shakedown. It is the most frustrating one I've ever experienced. I like to meet energy with the same energy. I'm also like, I don't actually want this to go anywhere. Go for it. How'd you know that I spent all my money, starved, and nearly died in a swamp just so I could crawl into bed with the first thirsty monster I saw? That earns me a burst of breathy laughter. He gazes at me under his dark lashes. Aren't you funny? I try. Could you be any more obvious? I've been told subtlety's not my strength. No, I don't want it to go anywhere. So your place or mine? Well, to be fair, if I had my key, I just want it back. If only I had my key, then I might be able to invite you up. His languid gaze glides from me to the key in his hand and back. What the fuck am I doing? Take my hand and we'll go together. No thanks. The more he flirts, the more convinced I become that this is some kind of trap. No, really. No matter how innocent monsters look, they always have tricks up their sleeves. And something tells me that this one's more dangerous than he lets on. Even if he has a lovely laugh, I don't care. I don't know what you want or why you're messing with me, but I'm not coming any closer until I know you aren't going to attack. Or bite. I won't bite hard unless you beg me. I knew that was coming. No matter what I say, he finds a way to twist my words into innuendo. Even when I'm silent, he goes on as though we're having a conversation, not a standoff. You like dancing? There's a traveling troupe performing in Hightown tonight. Their lutist is utterly exquisite. Truly a performance to die for. That sounds terrible. There's life in this dreadful place, if you know where to look. You sound like you know the city well. The man's gaze flickers from me to the key dangling from his finger. Naturally. This dump was little more than a miserable little smear when I first arrived. High town, low town, I know Iridia like the back of my hand. What about the Cenobium? You know where that is? Smile vanishes. Why do you open your dumbass mouth? Surely you've seen it, that absurdly large tower looming over the rest. It's a little hard to miss. You must mean that spire I noticed when I first caught sight of Iridia. The Cenobium's overrated. Forget about it. I can show you things those stuffy boars in their limp dick tower couldn't even dream of. I've already got plans. Oh, have you some pressing matters at the Cenobium? Lunch dates with the librarians, tea time with the most esteemed, I don't know what that word is, I've never seen in my life, abbess? That's my business. What's a matter to you? I square my shoulders and the amusement bleeds out of him. Your loss. The stranger, finally bored of his tedious game, extends his hand towards me. The key rests on his palm, neatly dividing skin and leather. I don't trust this. When he makes no other move, I reach for the key, but as soon as my fingers graze smooth brass, his hand springs shut around my elbow. Hey! He yanks me down, and I stagger, my soul slipping on the steps. For a sick moment, I fear my bandages will unravel under his touch, but he's careful not to disturb them even as his fingers dig into my arm. Your eyes got very big. I knew I smelled blood. You reek of death on the road. That fucking doctor. Oh, you don't like the doctor? Well... Fun fact, I used to only have 1.5 arms. Now I have 2. His voice, once silken, lowers to a smoky growl. The shadows around him seethe and boil as he pulls me closer. Something else. He murmurs against— I didn't know you were that close, dude. He murmurs against my throat, nose grazing my jaw. Let go. I try to twist away, but he doesn't budge. His breath trails down my neck, sending a thrill of dread. A thrill of dread, okay, through me. Just as I fear he'll bite, he takes a deep whiff instead. His wide, flat eyes gleam with naked hunger as he gazes up at me. Not quite human, not quite monster. Seems we're both. And then somebody yells, really loud. There! The stranger's ears flatten, and he releases me with it. I would make a joke with the ears, but I don't know what kind of animal you are, so it's just... He releases me with a short breath. I yank my arm back, massaging it where his grip left grooves in the bandages. The stranger twists around to watch a woman duck from the curtains behind him. Her pressed uniform bears the insignias of the Cenobium. I leave you for all of what, 10 minutes and you're making trouble again? Will you quit harassing the tourists? Stranger, bearer, I take it, rolls his eyes and flashes the cleric a withering smile. Oh, a withering smile. I've never heard that one before. So suspicious. Can't you see this is a friend of mine? Natural liar. He grins at me and his tail swishes minutely. The woman purses her lips at me. Thoroughly unconvinced. Oh my god, we're besties. I open my mouth to correct him, but Bear cuts in. I was graciously offering my dear friend some free advice. Though his voice remains light and cheerful, his expression darkens. Danger's drawn to you like a moth to flame. It will always find you, given time. The woman clucks her tongue as though she's heard this recital 102 times. Word of advice: don't take free advice from lazy foxes. Fox. Lounging. I don't know what that reaction was. Fox. Lounging in the streets. This cook would sell water to a drowning man for the sheer enjoyment of it. Unfortunate. Foxes are my favorite animal. She shrugs off a wilting look from Bear. Oh please, any friend of yours knows it's true. Now hold still. Bear rises gracefully at her approach. He pushes his hair aside so it drapes over one shoulder, exposing the long line of his neck. And suddenly it dawns on me that the jingling I heard earlier wasn't coming from the harness attached to his collar, but a leash. I mean, the heavy iron chain wound around a hitching post. A heavy iron chain wound around a hitching post and padlocked to the back of his collar. Bear posed deliberately to hide his leash from me. I mean, I knew the chains were to, like, kind of leash him. Because why else would you be wearing chains? But I don't know why Bear posed deliberately to hide his leash from me. Really threw me for a loop there. Like, the woman produces a key ring from her pocket. She rifles through a dozen identical keys before selecting one and slotting it into the lock. Come on, unless your friend's tagging along on our merry little soulless hunt. Okay. They're hunting for solace inside the city? Words momentarily fail me. The woman regards me with a polite, if tight, smile before marching down the stairs. Bear lingers. He stretches his arm over his head with a yawn, and I try not to stare at the way his stomach flattens when he arches his back. This main character is very thirsty. Your little secret's safe with me. Try not to get yourself killed, Bear hops off the stoop and bounds after the woman. His tail sways merrily, as though he hadn't just lied and threatened me. Did you try that thing I mentioned? The Laventia knot? That the one where you take 3 fingers and... Actually, don't tell me, knowing you it's disgusting. Bear's airy laughter echoes down the street. It's only after he and the cleric have vanished from the site that I realize I'm still You still have my key? You fucker. Oh, you gave it back, okay. Reflexively, I shove my hands into the pockets and find it, the room key. I ease the key from my pocket and smooth my thumb over its teeth as I try to recall a touch, a tell, or any hint of Bear's sleight of hand. I can't figure out how he did it. All I know for certain is that if the Cenobium saw fit to leash him, I could share. I misread that, but sure. If that's what his vague warning meant. I let my eyes drift skyward, past the lanterns gently swaying in the breeze to the Cenobium faintly visible through the haze. Just one glimpse is all I need, and I can put this all behind me. This time, the key goes into my coin purse for safekeeping. That was a lot. None of that was what I was expecting, but okay. Anyway, moving on to the rest of the city. It's easy enough to follow the sluggish river that splits Iridia in two. The colossal bridge arches over the dark water below. I cross as quickly as I can, climbing ever uphill towards the distant tower. It was pretty. Hours later, legs aching, sweat beading on my forehead, I finally found what I was searching for. The Cenobium of the Luminous Void. It stands at the highest point of Iridia, surrounded by cold, white walls. Well-dressed people stroll down the walkways, paying no attention to the massive tower in their midst. I'm the only one standing before the gates. I crane my neck up and up until the top of the Cenobium tower disappears into the clouds overhead. That is a tall-ass tower. Rapunzel, let down your hair. I frown up at the gates, wondering what horrible traps they might contain. Despite their delicate beauty, there must be more to them that meets the eye. There's probably like a passcode. Knocking seems like a terrible idea, but I don't see any other way of making my presence known. I'm halfway up the steps when something moves in my peripheral vision. A shadowy figure crouches beneath one of the white walls. They reach out and tug on a vine, as if testing its strength. You're just gonna climb over. Did I miss something? No, it just looked weird. Oi, you there. The shadow vanishes as quickly as I spotted it, and a gaunt-faced man in a crisp charcoal uniform marches up the step towards me. Another tourist. Get out of here once you're done gawking. A dismissive wave, well that's nice. A dismissive wave accompanies his equally dismissive words, and he turns on his heel without even waiting for an answer from me. I look back at where I saw the intruder, but there's nothing. Just the leaves blowing gently in the cool breeze. I step away from the gates, hopelessness washing over me. A whisper so close I can feel. What is up with people today getting close to me and whispering and getting their breath all over me? What do you want? I instinctively jerk away, but there's no one beside me. Halfway down the staircase, I spot a woman swaying in the breeze. She's gaunt as a rail, her brow smoothing. I am unable to take my eyes off of her. Not because of the way she smiles a little too widely, or the way her tousled braids look unbrushed for days, but because her eyes shine a bright, vibrant, unnatural crimson. I'm both entranced and unsettled by their subtle glow. These days, you'd need a miracle to get in there. I'm unsure of how to respond. I even should. I'll say nothing. After the experience I've just had, I'm not too keen on indulging strangers in small talk. Despite my silence, she maintains her unflinching stare and smile. Luckily for you, I have miracles for free. Whatever she's selling, I am not interested. My words come out in a tired breath. No thanks. I start down the stairs, but she abruptly steps into my path. Lady. She turns her... She just starts stripping. What are you two? As worn fabric unveils bare skin, my panic is smothered by cold horror. A misshapen, sunken scar carves into the woman's body. Pitted, gnarled skin snakes down her shoulders, blooming from a gaping hole in the back of her neck. Hate that. A shuddering breath escapes me. Okay, gaping hole though, is her skin like just an outfit she's wearing? The fuck? Whatever disease this woman had ate away from her from the inside out. Okay. How is she able to move or breathe? It's impossible. She shouldn't be alive, and yet the power to cure anything can be yours too. The power of sea spring. The woman slides back into her blouse and deftly laces it. She just fully disrobed, and then no problem, gets right back into it. Thank you for showing that to me. If I've caught your interest, then follow me. Only a short walk away. I don't know. Without another glance, she leisurely rolls down the Cenobium stairs, loose braids bobbing behind her. The edge of her scarf peeks out from under her collar, so she's because it said that her hair is all messed up, like it hasn't been brushed in 2 days. It specifically said 2 days. Did she die 2 days ago? I stand there, wordless, until I manage to regain my bearings. It's a twisted miracle, but a miracle nonetheless. This could be the stupidest decision of my life, but what choice do I have? I take a final look at the Cenobium's shut gates, then follow her down the steps. I knew I was going to be forced to go anyway. We descend from the higher streets, leaving behind their gilded decadence as we cross the river. The wet, derelict districts feel more familiar to me. But the crimson-eyed woman takes me farther, then farther still, until I'm met with an all-too-familiar sight. Don't wanna be here. My gut lurches when I face the open horizon. The city's outskirts are hardly recognizable in daylight, and probably safer for it. But venturing beyond Iridia's walls is a gamble I wasn't prepared to take so soon. Keep going straight, and the sea spring will reveal itself to you. I don't like this. I bark out a bitter laugh, loud and involuntary. I'd rather not. It's not safe out there. You're as safe inside the city as outside it. Truthfully, the territory before you is the safest of all. I don't trust that. What do you mean, territory? This region belongs to Ace. Most people know him as a gang leader, but he's much more than that. Alright, so anyway, I'm going back into the city. I squint against the empty wastelands. Only a fool or someone with nothing to lose would leave the city. Apparently I'm both. But if this sea spring cured her, I need to see what it can do for me. Oh god. I set off into the wastes. Over my shoulder, the woman calls after me. Good luck, kid. I hope we meet again. Why do you know my name? My heart pounds with each step I take from civilization. For what seems like an eternity, I force each foot forward. One step, then another. Until a realization hits me. I don't like that sound that just played in my ear. I never told that woman my name. Something pierces the horizon ahead. I don't like every single time my vision goes slightly dark. It seems like bad things happen. A building nestled into a tall cliffside, but so starkly out of place it might as well be a hallucination. It drips with extravagance and honeyed mahogany. An ornate jewel of architecture. Okay. A row of dark silhouettes stands out on the horizon. Trees, I think. Until I'm close enough to realize that what I mistook for branches were spikes and jutting tendrils, like the kind that bodies go on top of, or spikes as in soulless. Several of them watch me in the distance like statues. Love that for me. I don't think I just run. Exploding into a messy sprint, I push my legs as fast as they'll take me towards the decorated building. Flashes of light, nope. Flashes of last night chase me. Flashes of blood and screams of death. I wish I could talk. The smell of burning flesh and sour bile. I can't go through that again. I won't. The next thing I know, I'm dashing up wooden stairs and crashing through towering double doors. Hey yo, Ace! I'm here. Sorry. Okay, that's a lot of, what are those things called? I gasp for air, my bungs learning from the exertion. I'm desperate to be safe, but when I process my surroundings, it's more hellscape than sanctuary. What's up with the red? Lake of blood? Blood flows all around me, overwhelming my vision with a lurid, unholy red. Instinctively, my hand leaps to my mouth, but the rotten stench of blood never comes. Instead, a smoky scent hangs in the air, sharp and spiced. It's all wine, don't worry. I swallow thickly, convincing myself it's not as gruesome as it appears. This has to be the sea spring, the place that grants miracles. I mean, that wouldn't be my first thought. But sure. Pulling my eyes away from the pool, I take in the rest of my environment. Hollow pillars flank me, blanketed in written notes. Oh, they're just notes. Seating pillows scatter the floor. A rustic kettle sits nearby, Someone must live here, despite how eerily empty it is. Hello? Is anyone here? My voice echoes across the cavern without response. I approach the paper-covered pillars. Maybe something here can tell me more. I reach for... the top. I reach for a note that's higher up. It reads, "No one will read this. That's where you're wrong. But it's not for anyone else. This is evidence I existed in this rotten, grim world. Even so, I wish I could have stayed longer. The bog girl will be lonely without me. I should have told her how the rest is scratched out. I wonder who wrote this." Before I can ponder it further, a sharp chill runs down my spine. Something's watching me. Oh my god, it's everybody on YouTube currently watching this video. I quickly set the note back, my eyes darting around the wooden deck, but it's still empty. Vacant, they're invisible. Finally, I look towards the sea spring. That stillness hides something deeper. Something wrong. Hey. I spin around and come face to face with the pack of soulless. They chitter and growl, tendrils and spikes flaring threateningly. All different sizes and species, but sharing one identical trait, glowing crimson eyes. I try to back away, but my heel teeters over the sea spring. Cornered. Watch your step. It's deeper than it looks. Well, fucking help me, maybe? That voice again. At the sound of it, the soulless freeze. Their snarls quieting. Why'd we have to go, like, straight groin? I search for the voice's source and find it above me, lounging in the rafters. That's what. I never thought of that. You look lost, little sparrow. His gaze is a violent crimson, one that sears through me, leaves me feeling raw and exposed. They're the same eyes I've seen over and over. First with the scarred woman, now with the soulless circling me, all bound by the sea spring's blood red. Okay, I have questions. In the shroud of darkness behind him, shapes like massive tentacles twist and coil around the wood. You know what? Sure enough, I didn't notice them until now, but there are tentacles. I can't focus. The soulless growls ring in my ears. They're not advancing, but that could change at any second. Panic rises in my throat as I struggle to track them. Hey. It's on me. All eyes on me in the center of the ring, just like, okay. My stomach rolls as I tear my eyes away from the soulless. Don't ignore someone who's talking to you. It's not polite. Listen. For a moment, anger knocks my fear aside. Who is this bastard? I'm distracted. I'm kind of distracted by the soulless about to maul me. I keep forgetting that the options and what I actually say aren't the same. Only on my command, says bastard. I scan the soulless again. They really aren't attacking. Posturing more than anything else. You tamed them? Power of the sea spring. They're hungry, so they might bite. You could give me a reason to stop them. How about I didn't do anything wrong? Trespassing. That's punishable by death? He gives a non-committal shrug. I called out earlier to see if anyone is here. Were we supposed to play hide and seek? Didn't hear you. Bullshit. My voice stops in my throat. This man's terse coolness is both infuriating and terrifying. I rack my brain for a way to diffuse, or diffuse, whichever, the situation. Tell me what you want. I'm not in the mood for guessing games. Like you want to see them, or you want me to cut them off and hand them to you? Alarm jolts through me. I hide my hands under my cloak. Show me. Okay. I'm cool with show. I don't think I could just chop them off and be like, here you go. Why? Won't ask twice. With a sharp puff, I reluctantly hold out my bandaged hands. Are you... Not what I was expecting. Are you getting off on this? Unwrap them. Ooh, sexy hands. Heat rushes to my face and fire to my tongue. I should give him a piece of my mind, but not when his soulless are one command from ripping me to shreds. Yet no matter how much I will myself to move, my body is frozen in place. I stand there for a long, agonizing minute. I have questions about the tentacles. My hands are trembling when I try to raise them. I know the skin beneath the wrappings all too well. The hideous, unnatural flesh I've grown to despise. I grip the edge of the bandages. Stop. Sorry, do you want it slower? With a weary sigh, the man slides off the beam and lands with a thud that shakes the panels underfoot. He's a monster, with an imposing figure that towers over me. I couldn't tell how tall he was before, but he's big. Illuminated by lantern light, his features are stronger, sharper. Subtle links of metal accompany each of his footsteps. The closer he gets to me, the faster my heart hitches. What does he want? Is he going to kill me? I step backwards and find nothing to set my foot on. Forgotten my back was to the C-spring. I fall, right before a warm hand catches my lip. Sir? I'm hovering over the C-spring, the scent of smoke and leather enveloping me. Blazing crimson eyes bore into mine. Told you to watch your step. I'm too stunned to muster a response. Like I weigh nothing, he guides me back to solid ground and steps back. Following a subtle gesture from his fingers, the soulless around us disperse and relax. The shift in their demeanor is so abrupt, it gives me whiplash. The enormous tentacles are no longer in the rafters. I doubt I ever saw them at all. Oh, I definitely saw the tentacles, because I was questioning. Either way, I exhale a breath of relief. Tentacles aren't my thing, but... thanks. As focused on me as he was before, the monster pays no attention to me now. He kicks some seating pillows out of the walkways, checks the contents of the kettle with a scowl. Sudden disregard is almost insulting. So, that's it? I'm not a threat anymore? Never were one. Why'd you threaten me? People get honest when they're afraid. In other words, he was messing with me. I drag a hand over my face, exhausted by the fact that this is the second time a monster has provoked me today. You're ace, aren't you? Depends on who's asking. One of your friends told me this was your territory. She also said you were a gang leader. But there's no one else here. I thought there'd be more people. Ace picks up the kettle and walks to the edge of the C-spring and dumps out the contents into the endless red. Gang took a walk. His pleasant smile stretches across his face, ear to ear. Then, in an instant, it drops. I get the sense that I shouldn't ask about his gang again. Something must have happened. I've learned to recognize a real leader when I see one. Ace, regrettably, fits the type perfectly. Interesting. He knows how to scare people, then he expects submission. But it's uncommon for someone so used to being in power to be so... alone. What do you need the C-spring's power for? Depends. Can it cure a curse? Probably. You mean you don't know? Nope. He shakes out the empty kettle and starts collecting stray cups, tidying up. Okay. My frustration builds. I narrow my eyes at him in a questioning glare. When he notices, he returns it with an amused smirk. Are you being irritating on purpose? Listen, Sparrow. The C-spring can cure anything. Nothing's stopping you from trying it yourself. What do I have to do? Drink. I have to drink from the C-spring. My eyes glide to the bloodlight pool beside us. The idea of ingesting the strange liquid makes my guts churn. Is there a price? Always. Ace taps his temple with a finger. You lose it a little bit. That's it? Might have already beat it to the punch. My humor earns me an amused, fanged grin. This is a little different. When you drink from the sea spring, you forget who you are. Your mind combines with everyone who ever drank before. Humans, monsters, soulless. One big, happy family in your head. My blood runs cold. I've heard of these before. Group minds. I thought they were just rumors. I've heard whispers of cults performing rituals to bind their members' minds together. It never seemed possible. But something tells me this is real. Even if one thing doesn't add up. Your eyes are red too, but you obviously haven't forgotten who you are. Before I can finish my sentence, Ace strides past me towards the entrance. Time's up. Let's finish this later. Wait, already? You barely told me anything. I'm on a bad day. I've got somewhere to be. There's still so many questions burning the tip of my tongue, but my frustration spills out before any of them. I was told to come here for help, but instead I get threatened and kicked out. You're joking, right? Watch your tone. I'm nice, but you don't want to ruin the host's mood. My skin prickles. The feeling of being watched washes over me again. You aren't the one who was watching me before? My eyes dart back over to the sea spring. Your tentacle friend? A lone riffle dances on the quiet surface. I take Ace's advice and clamp my mouth shut. Ace approaches the nearby Solus, a lanky, dog-like one with 6 legs and a crown of tendrils. Several sets of crimson eyes adorn its sides. Its forked tail wags rapidly when Ace squats beside it. He runs his fingers through the tendrils, scratches its chin, and pats its head. A gentle smile plays across Ace's lips. The affection he holds for the Solus is painfully clear. I dip my eyes away, my stomach fluttering at the tender sight. It's getting dark out, so this pretty girl will guide you back. Yes, a girl? Following a short whistle from Ace's lips, it trots over to the entrance obediently, tail swaying. I watch the Solus warily. Pretty is not a word I would use to describe it, and the idea of it protecting me sounds absurd. If I decide to drink, how should I find you? Find someone with eyes like mine. They'll point you in the right direction. But think it over. Once you drink, you can't go back. It's a lot to process, but I give a small nod. At least I know I have other options for a cure, as disturbing as they may be. Okay, and then we switched. I follow the Solus at a measured distance and watch it nudge the giant doors open with ease. When I'm about to cross the threshold, I sneak one last glance behind me. My heart skips when I meet Ace's eyes. I'm about to snap my head away, but he flashes me an easy smile. Till next time, Sparrow. I'll buy you a drink for scaring you. Is it gonna be water? Drink? I don't trust myself to do anything but respond with another curt nod. Outside, more crimson-eyed Solus scuttle about. It's hard to believe it's the same threatening pack from before. They chase each other in circles, roll around in the bog's mud. They're just giant doggos. They pay no attention to me as the dog-like one escorts me away. Not an eventful trip. Sometimes the Solus looks over its shoulder at me to make sure I'm still following. Then it got nighttime. Dust darkens the sky by the time we reach the city. Solus sits and looks at me expectantly with familiar crimson eyes. At the Solus. As nervous as I am, I carefully glide my fingers through the Solus's tendrils and scratch beneath its chin. Just like Ace had. It pushes into my palm in response, rumbling with a sound akin to a purr. Giant cat. The vibrations are soothing, almost healing my fatigue. When it's satisfied, the Solus spins around and scampers back in the direction we came, vanishing into the darkness. barely my first day in Iridia, and I've already encountered so many things I thought were impossible. Tamed Soulless being one of them. My head spins. Maybe I should call it a day. Nightfall creeps along the streets of Iridia. The city, labyrinthine, I don't know, even in daytime, has become a warren of treacherous alleyways. The streets are completely deserted. If I hadn't been here earlier, I would have thought this part of the city was abandoned. I make my way through the winding streets, doing my best to keep my bearing towards the wet wick. Well, that wasn't a rustling in the dark, that was me stepping in something slimy, but my steps slow when I hear rustling in the dark. I strain my ears, but everything is still. Is the silence playing tricks on me? Something's wrong. Fine hairs on the back of my neck prickle, a version of discomfort running down my spine. Something is wrong. My eyes dart from one side of the street to the other, searching for movement. But the shadows are as deep and dark as pools of ink. I see nothing. I can't stay here. I need to reach a busier part of the city. Drawing my cloak tighter around my body, I hurry on my way. Though I keep my eyes sharp and listen intently, there's only the sound of my own footsteps. As the moments pass, nothing happens. I begin to wonder. Maybe I really did imagine that noise. I turn the next corner and my thoughts come screaming to a halt. My head spins, the world blurring as adrenaline rushes through my veins. Only one thing is clear amidst the haze. This is the exact Soulless that attacked the caravan. Do you think if I gave it a little chin scritch, it would leave me alone? I doubt it because it doesn't have red eyes. It's crouched over a dark, indistinct shape. Body. A garland of intestines spills from pallid flesh. Blood grouts the cobblestones. For a mercy, Soulless is too distracted by its meal to have noticed me. My feet feel as heavy as stones. I can't just stand here. Holding my breath, I take another step backwards. Just one. When the wet, slurping sounds don't abate, I take another, then another. Then a shard of glass crunches under my heel. The world seems to slow to a crawl as the Soulless raises its head, blood dripping from its tendrils. Every single one of its bulging eyes fixed unblinkingly on me. It's really here. It's come back for me. Run! I'm off like a shot, running for my life through the darkened streets. Behind me, that sound. My heart thunders in my chest. I take turns at random, trying to lose it in the maze of streets, but I can't seem to shake it. I can hear its breathing now. A wet, fluttering rasp. Growing closer and closer. The same claws that severed my arm swipe out. I duck, saved by blur reflex. And skid around a corner. I take 3 running strides before the bottom drops out of my stomach. A wall twice as high as me bars my way. Dead end. When I turn around, the Soulless looms in the entry to the alleyway. It's no longer running. It doesn't have to. As it prowls closer, my thoughts race. Some of the buildings lining the street are lit. There must be people inside. It's a long shot, but I would assume that the doors... Okay, listen. I would assume that screaming isn't gonna help because nobody's gonna try to help. Nobody's that nice. I assume also that the doors are locked. But there might be more of a chance that a door is unlocked and then somebody would come to save me. I whirl, grabbing the handle of the closest door. It turns completely. The hinges creaking as I push, and I feel a flash of hope before a weight hits the door from the other side and it slams shut, you bitch. The click of the lock turning is grimly final. In this wretched world, few people will stick their neck out to help their own flesh and blood, and never mind a stranger. The soulless gives a rasping hiss. It's the only warning I get before it lunges for me with a flash of claws. I hurl myself to the side, but the slick cobblestones betray me. I fall, sprawling over the rough stone. As the soulless looms over me, I scramble away from it until my back hits the wall. There's nowhere left to go. It descends on me for the kill. Anyway, that's how I die, but the impact never comes. Darn it. Mech. I wearily crack one eye open, then the other, not sure whether I should believe what I'm seeing. A hooded figure crouches in front of me, one blood-stained hand outstretched. Thanks. Moonlight silvers the edge of their stiletto knife. Their face and hands are splattered with blood, and the soulless. My eyes dart past my unexpected rescuer, the misshapen form behind them. The soulless's many eyes, once restless and vibrant, now look dull and waxy. A red pool spreads slowly from under its body. You killed it. Congrats. Numb with shock, I can't help but stare. It's dead. After all the people it killed, after nearly killing me twice. I can hardly believe it. Well, I gingerly take the offered hand. The stranger's gaze dips to my bandages. Pale lips part, on the brink of a question, then close again. With the strength belying their slight frame, they pull me to my feet. As soon as I'm on my own 2 feet again, they pull away from me, start wiping the blood from their face and hands. Stay there. They turn away from me stiffly, leaning over the soulless's gangly body. With their back towards me, I realize that I saw their hood. I saw you before at the Cenobium. You remember that? You're shorter than I thought. You saved me. I shouldn't have had to. A harsh response takes me back. Before I can formulate a response, they continue. What were you thinking, traveling alone at night? This is far from the worst thing hunting Lowtown. I can't make heads or tails of them. First they saved me, now they scold me. Lesson learned. Do without a lecture, though. To my surprise, they break eye contact. Their attention glides back to the soulless's corpse. They examine it with an inscrutable expression. I clear my throat to fill the silence. I'm Kit. Min. Suddenly, Min tenses. Their blade flashes as they drive it into the back of the soulless's neck. The soulless thrashes once, letting out a rattling hiss as the air leaves its lungs. Min leans on the blade, driving it deeper and deeper, until there's a sickening crunch, and the creature goes limp. Okay, so it wasn't entirely dead. My heart thuds in my chest. It must have been clinging to life by a thread. Min straightens up, withdrawing their blade in a single smooth motion. Better put wretched things like this out of their misery. They calmly clean the blood from their knife. That swift, unhesitating, lethal strike wasn't the work of an amateur. But they don't act like any of the cold-blooded killers I've seen in the past. Why is a soulless inside the city? Min looks at me, eyes searching, before realization dawns. You're new here. There's no walls around the city. Soulless can come and go as they please until someone is contracted to stop them. The Cenobium's patrols don't bother to protect Lowtown. Not anymore. Let me guess, you're not a fan of the Cenobium. I wouldn't go that far. Their brow abruptly furrows, and they sheath their knife, motioning for me to follow them. It's not safe here. The vultures can smell death. I'm not quite sure what they mean, but I don't want to stay lost in this city. I trail behind them as they stride down the street. If it's so dangerous, then why are you helping me? I came for the bounty on that soulless, and you were in the way. Not killing you isn't the same as helping you. Don't count on being so lucky again, or you'll be dead by sunrise. Their answer is stingingly harsh. I just need to find my lodgings. I hold my hands up, trying to forestall any more snippy comments. Alright, I get it. I'd love to get out of your way. I'm sort of lost. I just need directions back to my lodgings. What makes you think I'll help you? Nothing. There's no harm in asking. That seems to catch them off guard. Their brow knits and they look away, scowling. How troublesome. Good? Oh, hey. I turn, surprised by the voice. Kuros walks down the street towards us. His white and gold clothing is pristine, despite the grime of the city. Hello, Min. I see that soulless was your work. Min shrugs. There's a familiarity to the way they regard each other. I didn't know you had friends. Let's not be mean. You know them, Kuros? Min is a freelancer who has done a few errands for me. They're quite reliable. Unreliable freelancers don't eat. There's something Kuros isn't saying there. Kit needs to get back to wherever they're staying, before they wander into the jaws of another soulless. It's late. Were you able to find a place to stay, Kit? I'm staying at the Wet Wick. Both of their faces fall. Listen, Kuros. You're the one who told me to go there. I see. Would you like a guide? It might be preferable to wandering about alleyways. That would be nice, unless you guys are upset for a different reason. Min clicks their tongue and sighs, sounding mightily put out. Going to the Amaryllis district? Body cesspit. This way. Despite Min's clear distaste, when Kuros leads me down the street, they keep pace with us. Interesting. Catching my curious glance, Min's eyes narrow. Let's save this late. I don't care about you, but Kuros is the only doctor worth a damn in this place. Are you like this with everyone? The deadpan look Min gives me is answer enough. I catch Kuros hiding a slight smile. I suppress a sigh and resign myself to having a grumpy shadow all the way back to the Wet Wick. The route Kuros takes us is completely different from my slow meandering earlier in the morning. In no time at all, he cuts through darkened streets and twisting alleys. I don't know what's wrong with me in that word. Seems like half the city is poured into the Amaryllis district's colorful streets. Laughter, clinking glasses, and music assault my ears from every direction. Yet the most noise still comes from the Wet Wick. Doors hang wide open. It's lit. Here we are. He moves towards the door, and Min lets out an audible huff. Don't tell me you're going in. I have some quick business with Leander. He still owes me for yesterday's work. They drag their feet, reluctantly trailing me into the tavern. So, technically speaking, that is an hour more tonight that we have played. Like I said in the first episode, I want to keep these episodes around an hour long just for ease of viewing. I don't know what's going to happen next in this game. I don't know if there's going to be a lot more, if there's just like 5 seconds more. But I'm going to end it here just because an hour is up, you know? But this game is definitely really interesting. This episode in particular is not what I was expecting from this. I'm having a good time with this, so I hope you are as well. Thank you for watching this video. And I will see you tomorrow for whatever comes next in this game.